Hey, how's it going, YouTube? Today I'm going to be going over my 1-year long-term review of possibly the last Galaxy Note that we will see. We'll see how that goes, but I am going to be trading this in for a Z Fold 3. I think I'm ready to make the jump and try out the newest technology from not only Samsung, but it seems like the entire tech industry. Nowadays, all you have are these just candy bar slabs of glass that all pretty much do the exact same thing. So it'll be pretty refreshing to try something new. Now this review is going to be more of like a conversation that I would have with one of my friends. It's going to be a deep dive into how I've used the phone, how it's integrated into my life, and how you guys may enjoy it. Because honestly, this is still a great pickup. If you missed out on getting this last year, you were waiting for the new Note this year, lo and behold, it didn't come. And now there's rumors every day of there being a Note, not being a Note, the Galaxy S20 series being the new Note. It's just all over the place. Alright, without further ado, let's dive right into this. The Galaxy Note 20 Ultra is honestly the best phone that I have ever owned. I did own the Note 10 Plus before this, and that was probably also one of the best Notes ever. The only problem with that Note versus this Note is that the screen on the old Note was only 60 hertz, and if you're someone like me that enjoys gaming and whatnot, actually being able to tell the difference of 120 versus 60, it's night and day. And I personally really enjoy applications such as Takeyomi, where I have any kind of manga or comic book that I like. Let's go into Naruto. Being able to view things like this, 120 hertz on this huge, I think it's 6.7 inch display, it has just been an amazing experience. And honestly, the screen, the display alone was enough for me to upgrade from the Note 10 Plus. And of course, if you just are eyeballing all the deals that you can get every day, like how I do because I'm a psychopath, then you'll definitely be able to come up on this phone, or really any Samsung phone, very easily. I think I didn't pre-order this. I waited a bit. I wanted to see if it was worth it, and I ended up getting it from Best Buy, trading in my Note 10 Plus, and they gave a crazy $900 credit, $300 activation discount or something like that, and I ended up getting this phone for $300 altogether when it retailed I think for $1,300 at the time. So it was an absolute steal for me. Staying on the whole display topic, one thing that just kind of really grinds my gears is the actual resolution of the display. Now, this display is a 1440p display, but only if you cap out at 60 hertz. Now, this is an ultra phone, right? So it should give you the option to go to 1440p at 120, just like how the S21 Ultra allows you to. The battery capacity on this, which I'll touch a little bit more on in a second, 4,500 milliamp hours. It's not the highest. I think the S21 is 5,000. And I think if you give me the option to sacrifice a little battery life by putting it up to 1440, I would definitely do that, because with how huge this display is, 1080p and 1440, especially on applications that take advantage of that, such as YouTube, it is just such a huge difference. Another huge thing about the display is not only did you get 120 hertz, but you got the 9 millisecond response time with the S Pen. So basically what that means is you can write on this and it just feels like there's just no lag time in between you using the pen and actually writing on the display, which, if you are going for the note, is one of the main reasons why you would want this, is because the S Pen is housed actually in the phone. There's no kind of crazy case that like attaches it to the side and where the pen itself is super huge. Everything comes in one nice little package here. I'll touch on more of the S Pen features a little bit later, but just know that the 120 hertz 9 millisecond refresh rate, or response time rather, makes this thing a dream to use on here. Now, another feature that this phone has that pretty much every other flagship is getting rid of at this point is the fact that you have an SD card slot. I don't know why Samsung is getting rid of that on all of their flagships. I hope it's not like the whole Apple thing to make you kind of force you into paying for more memory. I think that's kind of a scumbag move. But having the capability of being able to throw up to 1 terabyte of an SSD storage in here is very, very nice. Like, check out all these movies that I have on my phone ready to go. I could pop it in there, smart view it up to my Samsung TV in the living room, and all of a sudden all these movies that I'm carrying around in my pocket could also be displayed on any kind of Samsung Smart View display, and that is very choice. Another huge feature that this phone has, and most Samsung flagship and some mid-range phones have nowadays too, is Samsung DeX. So if you are a student or a professional who really needs to keep things light and on the go, you can use Samsung DeX to basically use all of the applications that you have on your phone. So if you have Microsoft Word or Excel or something, you can use this little like Android application, or you can use the USB-C to maybe HDMI, plug up to a monitor, really take advantage of this being a mobile computer in your pocket. And again, with that SD card slot in there, it just makes everything, it makes this thing a tank. This thing is just a tank and a beast of a phone. In my opinion, it is one of the ultimate multitasking productivity phones that you could get today. I know the Fold 3 does have that huge screen, and now you do have S Pen support, but if you don't have it integrated into the phone, then like the productivity aspect of it is just not the same. It just makes that thing a little bit more bulkier and beastlier than it already is. And once you take the case off of this, or if you're rocking a super slim case, this is just such a nice package here. And I would turn my little studio light on this, but I don't want the mere glossiness of this just straight blasting back into the camera. So sorry if this isn't the best lighting that you've seen, but this phone is super slick, nice, and I personally love the build of this. No other phone, for whatever reason, gives you that rectangle like candy bar shape. Every other phone, except for maybe, dare I say, the iPhone, is just like a rounded like slab, and this just feels unique and nice. I know I kind of randomly got into the build quality of it, but I just felt like that needed to be said. The in-display fingerprint reader, it is not too bad, as you can see. I also happen to have a Whitestone Dome screen protector on this, so it really is integrated well into the phone. And if you would like to see me install that, I'll link a video down in the description. but it is one of the nicest quality screen protectors that you could get that's actually made of glass that works with the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor there. And I haven't really had any issues with that other than when my hands or thumbs get dry, then I might have to, get a little moisturization on, re-register some fingerprints with my thumb dry or wet or whatever. You just kind of have to get used to how that fingerprint sensor works, and then you'll be able to make it work for you every time. I will say the only kind of design element that I'm not too keen on is the camera module. Now, it does look really cool if you're looking on it like head on like that, but once you turn it to the side and you see how much that protrudes, it makes like any case that you get that makes the phone sit flush add just like 40% bulkiness to it. Now, like, this is almost like a murder weapon. This is a Samsung rugged armor case. I like it. Works with wireless charging, has little kickstands there, which is a huge deal for me, especially with such a nice huge screen for viewing content with. I hate getting slim cases that you need to like prop up on something. So kickstand, huge W for me. But because it tries to cover the whole camera module and come out further than that, it just makes this case very bulky. However, I will say that it protects this phone very well. I've had absolutely no issues keeping this thing pristine with the Whitestone dome and with this case. So back on to the camera module. This camera, especially coming from the Note 10 Plus, is just a huge W. I don't know if Samsung just found the perfect sensors or if it was just some software miracle that they came across, but every image that or picture that I take with these along with videos is just A++ material. It may also be that in the realm of smartphones that every kind of camera that you get, like the Google Pixel 5, I know the 6 is about to come out, but the 5 is still punching ahead of its weight class for the hardware that it has, and it's kept that same sensor, I think, since the Pixel 2. But Google is just so good at making their software like learn and adapt to the pictures that people are taking, which has kept it on par like with the greatest iPhones. And Samsung, I think, is on the other end of that. I think the hardware that they use in their cameras is so good, and they upgrade it every year, except for the Fold and Flip series for whatever reason, but let's not get into that too much. But the hardware on the Note series and the S20 series or the S series, they have just gotten so good. And honestly, it's to the point where if we're out somewhere and someone has an iPhone and they have seen the pictures that come out of this, they say, hold on, let's bust out this phone, take the pictures with that, because we want like the best quality picture that we got. Even the legit camera that I'm recording with right now, because it's kind of like a little harder to use to dial in the settings right to when you're taking pictures on the fly, like being able to take this thing out, not even use like the pro mode or what have you, and just automatically take the picture. It has been like A1 for like just quick pics, I guess you could call them. All right, next huge thing that we are going to come back around to is the S Pen. Now, this S Pen is probably one of the best, most notarized features of this phone. Let me go back to my artwork I was making earlier. Like, this thing is sick. Like, to be able to go in, just jot down some notes and have it all be in one unit is kind of like it's undescribable. It's why you get this phone. Like, when I saw Samsung with the S21 series just getting a fat pen and like getting the S21 Ultra case that you just like clipped it onto the side, immediately I was just kind of like, oh no, like they're not trying to go this way and take out the Note series, are they? Like, why else would they add that to the S21 Ultra series? Seems like as more devices come out that support the S Pen, the factor of them actually keeping the Note 20 Ultra on deck, it just seems to get slimmer and slimmer. Maybe it'll change to an every other year thing, or maybe the S20 series will become the Note series, but this candy bar rectangle shape is just iconic. It's honestly why I think a lot of people go for the Note aside from the pen, because a lot of people probably use this pen like once a month, maybe even like less than that, but just because they love the rectangular shape of this, they stick to it. And honestly, I am also a huge fan of this rectangular shape. And it is really nice when you use this pen. Samsung has this little like circular widget thing here, I don't know if you could see it too well, where if you push it, you can customize the different applications that you use when you have this S Pen. And it's just so awesome, the different things that you could do. Like, even if you're not really an artist like myself, you can go in here and just start coloring or doing whatever. I also am not good at coloring, and I'm using my left hand, so you see that there? And some A1 kind of art that we got going on here. And just being able to, I don't know, you're sitting at the doctor's office waiting for your appointment to come up, and you just want to sit there and listen to some tunes, color for a bit. Like, you have all of that here in this package. And there's also plenty of different kind of art apps, or like PenUp or Autodesk something, what have you. I'm not really an artist. I can barely write my own name and it be legible, but all of that is here at your fingertips and easily stuck away into the phone, where you completely forget that it's even there. You almost completely forget that it's even there, to the point where, personally, I rarely use the S Pen. If I am going in really taking some notes, like planning out my day or like taking notes for a course, I bust out my Tab S7. Simply because the width of this for taking like long, tedious notes, it just doesn't really do it for me. But if you are out and about and you're like, oh, I need to remember that, and you do something like an off-screen memo, you can jot something down. So jot down note, and then you go ahead and slide this right back in the phone. Your phone goes back to its lock screen. I don't know if you can see my always on display there. And if you go back into your notes, that note is saved for whenever you need to use it. Now that is something that is just probably like a god tier feature of this phone. It's something that's so little, so small, but it's just so nice. Like a Fold 3, the screen on the front does not work with the S Pen. Only the screen on the inside does. So you can't really do that on that phone. Can't really carry a Tab S7 in your pocket. So the ability to just be walking around, oh, you remembered something or you need to take a note, pop it out, and then you're ready to go to start taking your note. That is one of the best features of the S Pen, in my personal opinion. So like a huge feature that I really enjoy with this S Pen is something called Smart Select. So let's say I really needed this caption for whatever reason for note taking, and I go ahead, I bring up Smart Select from my window of apps that I use specifically for my S Pen. I can make a little box around that caption. I could go ahead and pin that to my screen. Now let's say I wanted to go and make a note about it. That is on my screen. I could use it as a reference for whatever and go ahead and start taking notes on that. The amount of things that you can do with this phone really is limitless, especially if you're a professional that values taking notes, sketching. Maybe you're an architect doing floor plans, whatever architects do. This thing is very clutch, especially, and I keep reiterating this, but fitting the pen right inside of the phone like that. So you have everything in one nice package. The next thing that I would like to talk about is battery life. So this thing does have a 4500 milliamp hour battery. I admittedly am not much of a power user as I used to be, especially with the Tab S7. That kind of does all of my heavy lifting and note taking for me. So this is just a casual media on breaks at work kind of device. So truthfully, after like 8 to 9, 10 hours at work, I come home, this thing is easily at 60, 70%, no problem. My screen on time averages around 6 to 8 hours depending on what I do with it, just doing some light texting or just going on Reddit and lightly browsing. But that is very subjective. If you're sitting there watching TikToks all day long, then your battery might get eaten up after like 4 or 5 hours screen on time. Also, it is very important to mention that this is the Snapdragon version of the phone and not the Exynos version. I've never played with an Exynos version of any kind of phone, so I can't really speak to how they perform, but I'm sure if you're watching this video, you do know or are aware of the issues that they have had with battery life. If you get this phone, Snapdragon is definitely the way to go. You should not have it any other way. Now, I think I hit all of the wave tops of this phone and what I personally like about it and what I think is important for you to take away. But if I missed anything that you were looking to have answered, please leave your question in the comments down below. I really do try and get back to all you guys. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, or a sub. I really will miss this thing, but trading it in for the new wave of technology is honestly just something I'm really excited for, being the little tech nerd that I am. If you want to see some Z Fold videos, subscribe, like the videos. I just really look forward to getting that in my hands and making videos for you guys. Other than that, I really appreciate you stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.